Hello and welcome in to episode 25 of the Fused Relativity podcast. Guys, we made it to a quarter century, number 25, silver anniversary. I feel like that's a milestone that we should appreciate and celebrate.
Yeah. What did you guys get me for our anniversary? You guys forgot. Oh, you guys suck.
John, well, we just talked about it. You're tired. We know that. But how else are you doing tonight?
Just really tired.
Eh,
Other
Yeah.
than tired, I'm tired. Okay.
No, I normally only sleep for about 6-ish hours. The last 2 nights I've only slept like 3.
yeah, that'll make anybody cranky.
So you're paler than usual, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. That's impressive.
His tiredness pales in comparison.
Wah, 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 ba-da-ba. Yoink.
More like womp womp.
Womp womp. All right, well, running gag, how are you doing this evening? And I'm assuming that means that your name is running gag for the whole 25 episodes.
Yes, by the fact that I put running gag, that you guessed that is my name this week, for sure. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, who doesn't? It's just, having a different name. It's sort of like you guys ever watch Cheers? Like every time Norm walked in, he had a new joke. Or, like the Simpsons couch gag. You know what I mean? Just, it's sort of a comedy classic. Just every time there's it does, you know what? It may not be the best joke, but it's new. You know what I mean? So that's what we go for.
Sometimes it's funny when it's very apparently obvious.
Right, and sometimes it's just numbers. Like you wear them. I remember I did a show in a casino, and the people were there just because they were gambling, and they weren't there to see the show. And I had to do a half hour. And one of my friends goes, "It's like you like begrudgingly wore them down with jokes. It's like they didn't want to like you, they didn't want to laugh, but you just kept telling jokes. So eventually they kind of gave in and they got on your side instead of hating it." Which is an odd thing for an audience to do at a comedy show. Like, like that's such an odd. I'm showing up not to have a good time, and they begrudgingly, okay, I'll chuckle. It's an odd thing.
Hey, well, at least you got the chuckle. I mean, it could have just been like blank stares the whole time, but
Right.
good for you.
Just outright hatred is it's also a possibility. But yeah, so okay, so what are we talking about this week? What's on the schedule?
Well, I did a deep dive because I wanted to do something fun for the 25th episode, and I jumped into simulation theory, and I went down a lot of rabbit holes, and my brain got bent a few times going through those rabbit holes. So I thought we could talk about that. Are you familiar, either of you, too much with the theory?
I'm going to simulate I know what you're talking about. So I will say yes. And actually, I liked it the first time when it was called The Sims. Is that about right?
Surprisingly, yes, Kirk.
All right. See, there's truth in that joke.
So basically, simulation theory is the essentially idea that what we are experiencing as life right now is actually a simulation that's being done by generations way ahead of us that have the technology available to simulate our lives as we see
Are
them.
we like lab rats kind of thing, or more like the Truman Show?
More like the Matrix.
Yeah, kind of like the Matrix, but in the sense of like going back to your Sims joke, like it would be as if our ancestors 5 generations down the road all have the technology to play the Sims, and we are the Sims. Yeah, it's real weird. It's like they have a supercomputer technology that can run this efficient of a simulation to where we don't actually we think we're alive and living our lives, but we're actually just a computer program.
Like people have gotten automated, not just jobs, but their lives have been automated.
Well, and it kind of makes it suck when you put it that way, because like I'm going to work and suffering for a computer program. Like, screw you, Sim.
You can't even get mad at a boss. You're getting mad at zeros and ones in computer programs. Takes some of the. You can't really punch it.
Back in 2003, a professor came up with this simulation theory, essentially saying that uh, basically they can't prove that we're not in a simulation. So there's a chance that we are a simulation. And people have come up with theories to support this over the years. It's been debunked a lot. A lot of the scientific community thinks that because it is technically unverifiable, that it's not really science. It's just more of a hokum theory. But it's
You also can't prove that we're descendants of unicorns either. You know what I mean? Go ahead and try it. Can't.
well,
Well,
and that's part of the argument for the simulation theory is like, okay, well, how do you know that we're not in a simulation right now? I mean, that's a kind of one of their arguments.
How do you? There's not the city of Atlantis under the ocean. How do you know there's not the Loch Ness monster? I don't know. It seems like it's in the same realm to me.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
it be more realistic, or it is more probable that we're being scientifically observed by aliens. If I had to guess.
which is funny because one of their other selling points is saying that the fact that we haven't been greeted by aliens by now means that we're in a simulation. Like they kind of have a theory for everything.
So you like the gerbil, the hamster you had in the cage, didn't know that it was being manipulated. We don't know we're being watched by somebody else who's feeding us and keeping us alive.
Yeah, basically a computer from,
I
500
don't I don't
years.
poop on wood shavings, and I don't drink out one of those bottles with the little metal ball. So I think I just blew your theory right out of the water. Go next. No,
And it's kind of funny because they have I did this dive because I had started hearing about simulation theory from different places, and there's some top level people like even our friend Neil deGrasse Tyson
hmm.
who doesn't dismiss it.
Well, it's hard to dismiss something that you can't prove is wrong. I mean, anything that is not scientific fact and is a scientific theory technically can still be proven wrong, even though it's, fundamentally there, all the science works, all the math works. Until it becomes scientific fact, it can be wrong.
Right. And so it's kind of crazy. If you went down the amount of diving that I did, you find out that so we know that our world, as we see it, has a lot of laws, and those laws are finite, like gravity, Newton's law, relativity, all these speed of light, the laws that we talk about a lot. One of the things they think is that because our laws are so finite, that they must be a computer program because the computer program has its boundaries and that's where it stops. So theoretically that's why we're living in a simulation.
Yeah. See, and I can understand the reasoning behind that, but like I was just saying, those are only theories because that's as far as we can understand them. Every time they spin up the Hadron Collider or anything to that effect, our knowledge of the universe changes significantly. There was a video I watched by Veritasium not too long ago that kind of describes how it is technically impossible to measure the speed of light. So we don't even know what the speed of light actually is.
Well,
Although
It's sort of the Olympics just happened, and there was a thing about the 4 minute mile where they thought it was impossible and nobody could do it. But as soon as the first guy broke it, then everybody started to do it. So there is a valid point to, I think, people, their perception only goes so far until they're proven otherwise, and then there's like a new glass ceiling, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like the goalpost gets moved once they go, okay, I've accepted that. Now we're ready for the next advancement.
Well,
Does that make sense?
yeah, just look at the speed of light. I mean, back when trains were a thing, politicians, I think it was politicians, I could be misremembering this, but there was a general concern that women should not go on trains because they moved too fast and they didn't know what would happen to them.
They thought
And
their lady parts would somehow burst out and they couldn't
yeah,
make babies.
Huh.
there is always this,
How are you
and
going to
we've
throw?
talked.
How are you going to throw Mama from the train if you can't get Mama on the train? That's my point. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, John.
But let's take the speed of light, for example. Once it was Einstein, right?
Which one? What are we talking about?
Speed of light.
I
Anyway,
know he's a theory of relativity. I know
yeah.
he's that guy.
Anyway, ever since the speed of light came into existence, everyone has thought you can't go faster than the speed of light. Now they have theories that, no, Star Trek's right, you can go faster than the speed of light without going faster than the speed of light. We talked about this last week. But just if something like that were to be real, it breaks our laws of physics. Just like Einstein bridges are technically wormholes. There's so much that we don't.
You're not going to be able to accomplish it in like your Camry. You know what I mean? Like you're going to need special equipment to do that. So, right? I mean, just because you figured out the technology, that doesn't mean everybody has it. Just because it's very finite amount, because it's specialized.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the biggest supporting factors of this theory, which we kind of touched on before the show, was that they have this thing called the Mandela Effect. And essentially, it says that Mandela, a lot of people, when polled, think that Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. And I asked you guys when you thought he died, and Kirk, I think, said 2011. Well, he actually died in 2013. So one of their other theories is like people can remember things or people are thinking things happened earlier than they actually did. And that's causing they're saying, oh, well, there's a failure in the simulation, which is giving people this ability to see,
it's like a virus. It's like a bug. That people can't do this?
Something like that, just like a failure in the software or something.
See, even Matrix brought this up with Deja Vu. And I've had some pretty significant and lengthy Deja Vu moments myself, but a lot of this could be also brought upon by just general not mythology, just rumors, folklore, stuff that gets passed along. And it's going to be especially, I don't want to say more prevalent because I think it's actually going to be less prevalent, but as TV and media and circles go around, I would imagine that there was one tabloid article that said Nelson Mandela, died in prison in the 80s, and that's where that collective bit of knowledge ran from.
Right, and it's always easier to make things fit into your theory than to make your theory fit ideas.
Right. So, if experts don't know anything and the scientists don't know, and I know more than anybody, then I trust my memory that's wrong over fact.
So as I was going down this rabbit hole of simulation theory, it actually did get me thinking about certain different aspects of simulation and what would happen if we were actually running a simulation in our lives right now. And I thought, and John, this one's kind of directed at you, but do you think that we could totally test this and just completely wreck if this is assuming we're in a simulation? What if everybody in the world just froze at the same time?
The same could be
No.
said for, like, what if everyone jumped at the same time, or...
Okay, well,
I'm just...
Well, oh yeah, but let me give you time to think about this. You said you did a deep dive. Did you know before it was called the simulation theory? Do you know the name before what it was called before that?
hit me.
It was actually known as the stimulation theory, but the theory has just been drinking. So, okay. So that now you have enough time to think about it, John. Now you give a thoughtful answer while I sidetrack with that joke.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
You have completely sidetracked me because I forgot what I was talking about.
Well, the other sidebar that I had was thinking about ways you could test simulation theory. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I remember what we were talking about now.
Everybody, John's a little slow tonight, so we're gonna give him some slack. But I was thinking about it, and I said, okay, so we're living in a simulation, and essentially this is just one giant computer software that's running our lives, making us think that we're actually living in this life. Wouldn't you think that someone would have figured out a way to hack the system as quickly as we hack every system that's made? You would think someone would break it or find a cheat code.
It's red pill and the blue pill.
Well, yes.
I mean,
Keanu Reeves peaked at Bill and Ted, so I haven't seen anything past that. So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
This just... Everything about this to me just reeks Matrix.
And there's partially, if anybody was the one who broke the system, I'm guessing it's Elon Musk.
Not to mention the fact that Matrix came out in 99. I had to look that up because I wasn't 100%. And you cited that 2003. So I would be willing to bet that whoever came up with this, it was just a diehard Matrix fan.
Just a Matrix nerd with I have a theory. I have a theory about that. It's based on the movie, The Matrix. That guy.
Well, I mean, that happens a lot when these popular movies come out that kind of define a new genre. You know, you have people that are just diehard, wish they were living that life.
Oh, Star Wars, Star Trek, yeah, they go all in. I mean,
yeah.
Well, and The Matrix was a complete... I mean, I'm sure people had thought about that kind of, simulation stuff, but it really brought a lot of different ideas to the mainstream.
Well, I think that's why it draws a lot of interpretation from The Matrix, because the theory itself is based on The Matrix. Yeah, it's just... I can see where it's going with. There's a lot of other theories out there that, it's hard to describe.
To me, but the Matrix was just heavily influenced by Short Circuit. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, when you break it down, it's all about robotics and automation. It's with no Short Circuit, no Matrix. Boom.
You should have saved that one for right before we switch to our next topic. It would have segued us perfectly.
Oh, did I skip? Are we doing robots? Okay.
No, we will be, but that's why he said you should have saved that for the segue. But
So
And I was gonna say, John, I'm no way like buying into this simulation theory because I don't think it's real, but uh there were so many implications. Like I did like the simulation idea that it's relieving that 500 years from now they have the technology available to run this kind of sim, which is a little bit like calming. It's a little bit like you feel good that technology and civilization has progressed that far, to where they can uh, make this happen if that were the case.
I mean, it's not too far off of our own technology. I followed a lot of people that were working on evolution simulations, and uh, I mean, like Kirk said, The Sims. I don't know if you've played The Sims 4, but it's, well, not necessarily a step up, but it is.
Is that the one where you can like beat your partner?
What?
I thought there was a Sims where like they allowed you to like beat up
Domestic
your partner.
abuse
Yeah,
was.
like domestic abuse.
Well, I mean, in theory, Sims fight and can do stuff like that, but I don't
I think
think
that
it's
was that was super
a
that was Super
specific.
Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
The wife beater. That was a different one.
yeah, I don't think it was a specific feature of The Sims.
Or
Um,
maybe it was just that you could like lock someone in a burning room or something
oh
like
yeah,
that.
that's the people who
Are
play
we
The
still
Sims.
talking about a video? We're talking about a video game. We're not
Yes,
talking about
yes,
real
yes.
life, right? Okay, just all
We
right.
are.
No,
Just clarifying.
people used to put Sims in pools and delete the ladders so they couldn't get out. Um,
Wow, people are cold-hearted bastards.
yeah, it's yeah.
They must really hate Phil Sims. I never really knew. Heyo, come on, sports joke. Okay.
But
Well, it's
oh,
you
go
know,
ahead.
it's I was gonna say it's an interesting it's really kind of an interesting topic if you take a little time and you dive into some of the research that people are doing, and a lot of it is crazy talk. I mean, you definitely got to filter through some Reddit posts before you get to some real information, but it's got some grounding roots that I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying
It's flat earther adjacent. It's QAnon adjacent. Is that what you're saying? I mean,
eh,
there's some crossover in the Venn diagram.
It,
I don't know. I don't know that it goes that crazy, but it's just an interesting perspective into the world.
Mm.
well, I mean, one of the points I was going to bring up is there's a lot of different theories on, or I guess more philosophical. I completely botched that. Philosophical, and I don't know how to pronounce this. Solipsism, I think, is probably close. It's the theory that you're the only person in the universe. Everything else is just a rendition of your imagination.
Huh. Like a hallucination. It
Not
is not.
not so much a hallucination, more of like your mind is the one that's creating the entire world. You are, the center of it.
You're the Truman Show.
Yeah, just, more universal.
That's an interesting theory. Like I've never thought of it that way, but how amazing would that be if you were the one creating your own world?
See, but that's where it gets tricky because there's three of us here. Who's the real one?
Yeah.
Who's not?
No, I don't want to think about
The
that.
one in the middle.
It's gonna hurt my brain again. I don't want to.
See, and that's something I kind of I'm not. I'll admit it, but like for a while, you know how you always have those specific circumstances that it just always seems to work out, and you don't know why.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think I started thinking like that was, there was just certain things that just kept going right that shouldn't have,
Sometimes you're just in the zone. You know what I mean? Like just you know what I mean? Like you're hitting your free throws. You're just everything is going right, and I don't know. It's like you're relaxed, you're confident, and you're just flowing, and then it'll go away.
I
I think it's sort of magical, like playing music or something. Where like I don't know where they came from, but it sounded good.
and John, that is a very interesting perspective, and it's a cool theory. But I really hope it's not true because I don't know why in the hell I would create my crappy job for myself if I was the ruler of my universe.
You must hate yourself.
Something. Yikes.
But I mean that's what I'm saying with these theories is there is a lot of them that are spread out.
Well, because I mean, this whole thing got me thinking about like the theories of life, and some people think that the, I hear a lot of podcasts talking about how your life is just like you live it, kind of like reincarnation. You live it over and over and over again until you get it right.
Oh, good God, that would suck.
Right? But the opposing theory to that is that you live your life over and over and over again and it never changes. Which one is worse?
Well, see, but in the grand scheme of things, if you go with the former, that you're living your life until you get it right, that would mean that this is the right one because this is the one you're living. Because you don't remember the past ones, you don't remember the future one. That's
Oh, and I still, no matter which theory I go into, so if it's the right one, I still have a crappy job.
yeah,
Huh.
but see
So
that's
you're supposed to learn something, and then the next time you come back, you'll have a less crappy job. That's the
yeah,
hope.
but that would that would mean you would have remembered your past one runs.
So you're
Right.
saying it's not like a choose your own adventure book. Like if you go through and then you die, the next time you can just choose the other one. You say
No,
you don't remember.
the idea is that you keep reliving your life until you get it right, meaning that you get it to the point where it's supposed to be. So
Which
theoretically, what John's saying is you would remember your past because you wouldn't make the same mistake twice.
kind of that theory would work if we remembered the past ones. But since I don't have any memory of, living countless other lives, it would be argued that this would be the one that was right. And again, that
Ooh,
kind
but
of bounces
that,
back to that you're the sole person of this universe
and
because
that would explain a little more of the deja vu. Just saying.
well, yeah, but it would also mean that if you're just on repeat that this one is the one that sticks theoretically. I mean, you could just start all over from scratch, but the fact that you don't remember anything but you're remembering this one. See, it gets tough.
This is like an episode of The Good Place. Did you guys see The Good Place? This is exactly. It's weird. The one with Ted
I
Danson.
Yeah, it's a show I want to watch. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
It's worth it. You know what? So my friend talked me into it. I recommend it. It's worth checking out. Ted Danson is always funny.
Well, and it's kind of like, I mean, we've jumped from simulation theory to other theories, but I mean, granted, there's no really good way to know for sure what our purpose for life is and how we got here. I
42.
mean, we can, huh?
I said 42. Purpose of life.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Oh,
yes.
Yep.
but I'm just saying that there's so many different theories that you can look into, and no one will ever know. Well, we may eventually know, but we don't know yet. And we could bounce. I mean, you can say whatever theory you want. You know, you could say that we're all possessed by crab people.
Well, I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a good
I,
possibility.
I do like lying in warm butter, so I may have finally. Thank you. That explains a lot.
But see, this whole thing kind of, that's kind of why philosophy, religion, all that stuff kind of just, it's a whole can of worms to open up and get into
I know,
that.
like I don't want to open up those cans because they hurt
Well,
my head.
and see, that's I don't know I'll if we'll save this for a different topic, but I've seen stuff that I can't explain, and as Chris knows, I am more or less logical when it comes to certain things.
Your feet are on the ground.
Yeah,
You're not a hippy dippy into crystals and ooh hey.
no, Chris knows. Station
Well,
2 in Fountain.
and
That place was haunted as shit.
and I've certainly had scenarios. Like I could give you a quick story. When I was in high school, I don't know if you remember this, but there was one night I was so sick. I don't even know what it was, but I mean, I was out, like down for the count, sweating, sleeping. Like I went to get a glass of water and I couldn't even lift the cup. I was so weak. And during that like fever dream, I had like two things or three things before I remember falling asleep. I said, I want this to happen tomorrow, I want this to happen tomorrow, and I want this to happen tomorrow. All three things happened that very next day. How do you explain that?
Well, how do you explain a
Well,
medic bag that was sitting on a catwalk just falling to the ground?
Same, same. You know what I mean? Like, there's certainly things in this world that we can't explain. And I don't try and think about it because there's no explanation for it. So it's that's kind of what we're talking about, though, is sometimes things happen and you
three
go,
things. What were the three? I mean, they were like, you know what? I'm going to go to the grocery store tomorrow. I'm going to poop my pants, and I'm going to do this. That I mean, you could have been. Yes, you could make all those things happen without something mystical happening.
well, so uh, I remember two of the three. One was, and we're talking about my little fever dream thing, is I had the first one was I needed an extension on a scholarship essay because I was so sick I couldn't finish it up. So I was like, well, maybe they'll give me an extension on my essay so that I can finish it and turn it in. And then the second was I wanted a girl who I hadn't talked to in like a month to ask me to prom.
And both those things happen.
Both of those things happened.
Hmm.
So the essay thing, you could say like, that happens all the time.
Do you
But
think the girl asking you to prom, like the Make a Wish people, just jumped the gun
Yeah.
really severely? You were so this kid's sick. We thought he was dying, so we kind of made this girl say yes to go on to prom with him. But then you pulled through, and she's like, "Okay, I've already committed. I'll do it anyway. I got the dress."
hey, I'm just saying those things happen, and I was shocked when they did because, in my fever dream, I'm thinking like, this is never going to happen. And it did. So what can I say?
That girl
So
transitioned nicely to. No, I was kidding. Okay.
See, now would be a good. Well, it wouldn't, but the transitions to robots would be here.
yes, we can change. I mean, I had a lot of fun digging into this simulation theory,
But
and it's something that we can explore further in other episodes because there's so many different theories we could look at. But it was fun. Uh, it was thought provoking and might be something that people would be interested in looking into just for a different perspective on the world, even if it's not true.
Right. So now we're switching to robots. What's going on with robots?
Elon Musk is making one.
He is currently doing the robot.
Yes.
Right, so he's at a wedding. He's just that's I don't really think this is news breaking. He's cutting a jig right. You know, it was an open bar and he had a couple drinks. He's feeling good. He's doing the robot. Okay, it's not newsworthy. Or it's something else.
Yeah, so on Friday they had an AI conference, or I don't know what they call it now. It's like every big event is just like this showcase.
Did they ever call it an EIEIO? Or is that no? I'm sorry. That's agriculture.
I like shindig. Shindig is always fun.
Yes.
At the next one, could the scientist do? That would just lighten things up. It would help me understand better.
I mean, we used to do hoedowns, but now it's politically incorrect. So,
right, it's offensive.
anyway, John, continue.
So from what I gathered is that they are making these robots that are very humanoid-esque to do mundane tasks, that essentially more automation to replace people. The caveat being that Elon said you can definitely outrun these and you can probably overpower them.
So they're just more. I'm picturing more of like a cubicle robot, just doing brain dead stuff, repetitive computer stuff, like not physical work.
No. It's more like lifting.
Oh, like working in a warehouse and moving boxes.
Yes,
kind of stuff?
yes. Just in a more humanoid fashion than Boston Dynamics, like specifically designed one to move packages around.
So every 7 minutes, the robots will stop and complain about their kids.
Well, no. So, Kirk, what's interesting about this, and John, we didn't talk about this, but I was listening to Rogan the other day, and I heard Lex Friedman talking, and he does a lot of work with Boston Dynamics, and he was trying to do like a study about the human interaction and robots. And I guess based off of what he said, Boston Dynamics was like, no, we want nothing to do with that. We don't want any kind of like human feelings, or like robots are designed to do a job, and that is it.
Electric stapler doesn't have to have feelings. That's okay. I'm okay with that. It can just staple.
And that's evident in their robots, yet their Atlas robots are still very humanoid. Even Spot is very animal. You know,
Agreed.
creepy dog, but still.
But, well, anyway, I was going to make a joke about the dog you created last week.
I was going to do the same thing.
We're on the same page, but it still makes me wonder, and the only reason that I thought about that was because you referred to those as humanoid robots. What's the point of making them humanoid if you're not going to give them human emotions?
It's in our title.
To overthrow the point that robots are better. That's why they're replacing humans. So why make robots as close to humans as possible? They're the things you're replacing.
It's not necessarily better. It's that they're cheaper.
And they don't.
That's better for business because they don't need breaks. They can just keep going.
And they don't eat food. They only take electricity. They don't talk back.
They don't have maternity leave. They don't have offspring. There's a lot of bonuses for robots.
Yeah.
We just suck.
What were you saying? What were you saying, John? That it's in our title? Is that what you said?
Yeah, to overthrow humanity.
Oh.
That's why I put robot overlords.
Isn't the whole point of robots that they're supposed to be docile to humans? Like, isn't that like Asimov's fifth law or whatever, first law?
It's the 5 laws of robotics. Well, no. So that was when he wrote those. I don't remember if they were books or short stories. It was the concept he put into robots to make sure, it was the 5 rules to make sure that robots never hurt humans, which obviously didn't work because they still tried to kill people. But it was the core principle of, if all 5 of these things were true, robots would never harm humans.
Like making pinky swear. What?
So,
what are the? Do you know the 5 rules? I'm just curious, like, or at least one.
I was gonna pull them up here real quick.
I was just gonna do the same thing because it's
So it's a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Second one is a robot must obey the orders given it by humans except where such orders would conflict with the first law.
Tell that to my Alexa.
Sorry, not the 5 laws. It was the 3 laws. And the third law is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws.
All right, my Roomba has been looking funny at me, so I think it's starting shit. So I think it's going rogue.
Well, you should stop kicking it, Kirk.
It's coming at me. I can't. I got to defend myself. I'm not. Either my Roomba thinks I'm a piece of garbage, which I don't appreciate. I don't appreciate that Roomba. I forgot my other point, but no, I'm you know what? Me and my Roomba are in a blood feud right now. It's exactly like Game of Thrones, but it's with lint.
It'll come back around, Kirk. Just give it time.
Okay, all right. We're going through some couples counseling. We'll see what I can do.
The main thing I found funny about Elon's little presentation was that, I don't know if you remember, but a little while ago he was going on and on about the dangers of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it was a big thing I saw on the internet today that was like, he was over there saying that AI will destroy the world.
And now it's, he's developing it. In fairness, he's developing a lot of stuff that it could potentially destroy the world, but
he is Morpheus right now.
Well, hopefully he'll program his not to destroy the world. Is he at least saying that to try to comfort us?
Well, that's why he said you could outrun him and probably overpower him.
It's like, just unplug them. You know what I mean? Well, like their batteries will die eventually. Just don't charge them like your phone.
See, that's
theoretically an EMP would take out all the robots. So,
probably, but
granted, it's gonna take out everything, which kind of sucks. But
so the thing is Boston Dynamics has their no humanoid pure function aspect. It's still going to end up kind of looking humanoid-esque because they're working on the Atlas, which is the bipedal robot. And anything bipedal is, in theory, going to at least somewhat resemble humans. Elon is making essentially the iRobot of robots, or the Apple of robots, to do mundane tasks. I don't know where I'm going with this point. I guess it's just, although
mundane tasks like hosting Fuzed Relativity podcast.
Yeah.
Are you saying in the next episode, like 28, you're going to be a robot? Is that what,
put a little robot filter on? No, but it's,
holy crap, John! That's what I had that idea to work on that. What the hell?
That was Kirk. But help me out here.
Help you out. Well, the idea that robots will take us over, I don't think is.
No,
it's not plausible. The fact that just what I was telling Kirk about it earlier in the week, with AI and self-driving vehicles, Musk is looking at getting his autopilots to level 5. What do they call that? Level 5 autonomy. And most people who, experts in the field say that self-driving cars will never have level 5 autonomy. And my guess is that robots will never achieve that as well. So they won't have the desire to take over the world.
No,
So
no.
there'll be some variables that will always be able to jump away for, there's some things the robot will not be able to foresee and predict, and then that will be the
Well,
stumbling block.
the whole concept of robots taking over the Earth is based on the principle that the robots are intelligent enough to alter their own programming, which is likely to never happen. B, that they would be
Not unless that sick SOB who programmed the Opportunity rover he might get
oh
in there things up.
A depressing guy.
yeah.
You know what? Unless the robots get a lot, like they get enough money to have lobbyists, I'm right. They're not gonna go anywhere.
Now, to that point, John, could I see robots in every home in America? Yes, I could totally see that.
See,
Will they take over? No.
no, and I would agree entirely. We're kind of going back to Star Wars, but Star Wars took robots to a practical level. Like you have astromechs and all this other stuff that were designed to do specific tasks. And technically we have those now with the Roombas and stuff like that. But we don't have one that can do, I can't tell a Roomba to go get me a beer.
Dude, that'd be sweet.
But it's just robots. The biggest concern we have is robots taking jobs.
Yep, all our jobs.
Not all of them. It's just they're gonna take the
They can have a lot of them. A lot of them suck. Good riddance.
If you look at if Tesla is successful with this robot and it can do mundane tasks with a precision and degree, and why not put them in as a fry or have a fleet of them in a McDonald's prepping all the food?
Well, and to that point, I mean, for someone who's fighting against the automation of most jobs, you could theoretically boost your not profit margin, but your efficiency and your lack of error, because a robot's going to do things exactly how it's programmed to do it each and every time, where with a human you have fatigue, error, your cat
Emotion.
died. Yeah, emotion.
They're going to get bored and leave, and they're going to have to retrain a new person because it's a monotonous, boring, horrible job. I think that's the most important. Like it seems to be the retraining of people is where if employees can get somebody who will stay and they can just count on you. So that's why like robots would be way better, just because I think there's certain jobs where you can only stand it for a certain time.
Yeah,
like
but
any person who like, this is a horrible, I gotta go.
Money talks, though. And if we're going to go down that route, like if some of these boring, monotonous jobs paid more than the high, not necessarily the skilled jobs, it would make it worth it. But right now, most of the boring, menial jobs are marketed towards teenagers.
Well, they were, but now it's 29-year-olds that have 2 kids. Yeah, but they pay piss poor.
Yeah, and
they're not worth sticking around for. There's no like, oh, I can work my way up the ladder to maybe make $9 an hour, or whatever it is. It's just there's just like you stay with it till you hack it, and then you're like, all right, screw this, gotta go find another job.
Yeah, it's just this is like a huge rabbit hole that we could probably discuss for like another hour. So I'll keep it short, and that's going to be I think the biggest factor with robots in the jobs is, and we're already seeing it. A lot of people don't want to go back to working at, restaurants or stores or anywhere that's doing menial tasks for practically no money.
Right.
There's just no incentive. Before there was, well, I need a job, so I have to do it.
And they never had a break, so they never knew any different. You know what I mean? If you're on the rat wheel and just going, but you have like this pandemic where you have a chance to like reflect and go, wow, that was shitty. I don't like doing that at all.
Well, and Chris can probably attest to this. What was better, your 12 weeks with your newborn or going back to work?
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm still pissed. I just got my 15 years of service in, and all they gave me was like a piece of paper that said, "Thank you for 15 years of service." And so I'm a little bit bummed out right now. And so, yeah.
Certificate, or I mean, like a gift card, a little extra money, just a piece of paper.
Yeah, piece of paper. They were
Woo!
like, "Hey, woo, you made it to 15 years."
Thank
Yeah.
goodness you're a billion-dollar corporation. Way to spread it around. Nice
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
We look forward to the next 20.
Yeah. Let's see how long you make it, sucker.
We'll think about giving you a gold watch. That's what we'll tell you. Yeah, if you make it another 20.
I've
we thought about getting you a gold watch, but we didn't. But it was close.
I've got 28 left myself, so that's, not depressing in and of itself.
Well, you don't, that's the beauty of robots, right? They're not going to care if they work at a company for 15 years and all they get's a stupid plaque. It's like, I mean, I understand the draw to robotics. I'm still fighting automation, but I'm not totally in denial. There's a lot of places that robots could help out in the business community, taking jobs that people really don't want to do. But
Don't you think robots you would just put a magnet on them instead of a plaque or a badge? It's just kind of like little.
I think they call that flair.
Yeah, exactly. The robots have flair. Just
You might start singing folk songs.
Right.
Get a jean jacket and get an acoustic guitar, and then they'll form a union. All right,
sorry,
that for the robots.
The joke from Futurama.
Yes. And then my joke was Office Space. So we're,
I know.
Oh, Office Space is great.
So, since we're talking about it, I don't know how to.
No, hold on. My point was this, John. You titled the second half of this episode Robot Overlords.
Yes.
And I don't see that being an issue.
No, it was a joke. That's why I said it was a joke.
All right.
I just thought it fit with Elon making an AI chip and robots.
Well, now think about it this way, just because you said that. If you had Neuralink and everyone in America had Neuralink, and now you can communicate with the robots, okay, things start to get a little dicey. But until then, it's probably cool.
Well, he's going to probably put the Neuralink in a pig again and have it talk to the robots, which would, in theory, even be a more scary scenario if the pigs controlled the robots then took over the world. You'd be the bacon.
Then the robots would just start eating a bunch of all the, like in Texas, the pigs that are just destroying all the plants. You just have robots doing it? That doesn't sound right.
He's saying that the pigs control the robots, and then the pigs take over the world and get their revenge for all the bacon that we've eaten in our lives.
Well, but they're also pigs, so they would also go root around and destroy stuff too. I imagine they would just split them up.
But in my head, Kirk, there's like one really big fat pig with like a king's crown on, and he's like, "You guys thought bacon was good."
This is exactly like Animal Farm, that great book.
Yes,
it's exactly what happened. Read that book, kids. Animal Farm. Pick up your local library.
Anyway, John, last thoughts. Round that out.
Well. So I was reading a comment that said, a lot of people that are against automation and, think that it will crush humanity and yada, 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 and there'll be no jobs, also watch Star Trek. And the thing about Star Trek is there are no jobs in that society because everything has been replaced by automation. Like you have replicators that bring up food and whatever you need, clothes, all of that. So in a
Yeah, but there
sense.
was still ship pilots, and there was
But
still like
that was science, and how everything went from, a job focused way of life where, jobs were the definition of life. You had to have a job in order to, progress through life. Then it switches to science. Like if the world was completely automated right now, you and Kirk are both on the side that humans would become lazy and yada yada yada. I, on the other hand, think it would push a bigger leap into science.
You
Because
think
we
people
don't.
would use the free time that they now have to expand science?
Well, think of it this way: science is the most underfunded part of any government in the world. Even NASA has, a microscopic budget compared to, say, the military. And that's just NASA. That's not any other aspect of science. Science right now is generally just for profit. And on
And it seems like in military stuff, anything, drones or better bombs or better electronics to do stuff like that's where it seems like the money goes.
well, and again, that's all
military.
Military, and the few aspects that do come out of it, like Velcro or duct tape or all that stuff, were developed for, specific stuff like space. When you get rid of the fact that you need money in order to do science, the push for science would be much more. People with the ideas of, hey, I have this idea, maybe I should, work on it, would be able to actually work on it instead of pushing it to the side and saying, I'll get to it one day.
My only argument with that, John, and I'm not totally against what you're saying, because if I had all the free time in the world, there's a lot of stuff that I would work on that I'm currently not working on because I don't have time to do it. But there's a lot of people in this world who would literally do nothing, and they would still find ways to do crack and drink a lot and really
I'm not disagreeing with you, but they're also doing that right now. Nothing's stopping them from doing that right now, other than the fact that, they have to get the money to do that stuff.
Well, hopefully when they capture and somehow figure out how to inherit this comet that's made completely of iron that's worth like $4 quadrillion, that they will send a lot of that money. I think the theory was if they could harvest the comet or asteroid that's worth 10 times the world's GDP, that everyone in the world would get like $2 billion.
Oh, come on. Bullshit. It's going to go to the same four rich fucks.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. That it has.
It's not going to trickle down to nobody.
See, that in the scenario that Chris described would be if NASA was the one to go up and get the minerals, and it would have been gotten all by the government. That's not going to happen because some private company will pay for the. See, and that's where that doesn't really.
I know. I was making a joke.
I know. But just look at Mars. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just saying that theoretically something like that has been posed as possible, where people, they could literally give the whole world like $2 billion.
Yeah, but then a soda's going to cost you $100 million.
Well, yes, they would. All the corporations would figure out how to profit off that. But if everybody had $2 billion,
it would be worthless.
Yes, but you could theoretically, you see where I'm going with this.
Well, I do. I see where you're going with it. The problem is, in reality, the problem is corporations, because there will be some corporation that goes up, claims it, and takes all the profit for themselves. And in doing so, tanks the economy, because if we had that much iron that was being brought in from an asteroid, or gold, or, any precious element which is found throughout the galaxy, it would completely tank the economy when it was brought back. Like, you
Right.
have that much money, that's more money than is currently in circulation in the world.
Correct.
You can't bring that into the world's economy and say, oh yeah, everything's going to be fine. Everything will tank.
Well, yeah, and everything like you said, because I agree with you, everything would just cost $100 million. It would be inflation times infinity. But I was just using that as a reason to say that theoretically we could eventually have no need for money because everybody has enough money to where then you could focus on science and people could just do what they do.
I see what you're saying. And my only other caveat to answer your question of what would the people that, aren't interested in science do? I mean, there's tons. There's arts, entertainment, exploration. If Elon's plans on going and setting up a colony on Mars, it's going to take millions of people.
Well, and theoretically, those people wouldn't care about money because what's there to care about money in a society where there's
no money? See, and that's why I'm kind of personally interested in what happens on Mars, because there is very...
I knew it.
What?
You're a Martian?
But there will be no money. And it will be kind of I don't want to say socialist or whatever state, but it's going to be a community-driven society, much like early civilization, before money and stuff. It will quickly descend into some sort of, hierarchy.
It's starting as more of a commune, kind of pilgrims, kind of working together, agricultural system.
And we have to clarify, because this is something that we could potentially talk about in depth on another episode, but even though, yes, theoretically there would be a commune and everything would run relatively smoothly, these are all technically initially professionals, scientists and astronauts that are going to go up. It's not going to be your average Joe Schmo.
Not necessarily. I don't think, the physicists and all of that are going to be the ones down in tunnels breaking rocks or welding sheets of metal together.
Yeah, but there's going to be some vetting going on to get someone to go to Mars. I mean, you're not going to take someone up 6 months on a Mars mission to have them ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, but if you're sending thousands, it's hard to... I'm not saying they won't be vetted. I'm just saying if you're sending thousands, it's going to be a lot more of a diverse population than if you were sending 20.
Well, and it seems like if you have less to lose, you're more willing to take a gamble on this risky Mars thing. I mean, people that have a yacht and several houses all over the world, they don't go to Mars. They're doing fine here. But people that are struggling, they're like, it can't get much worse. So let's roll the dice. Maybe it'll be better.
Well, I mean, just think about it. Even if you were $100,000 in debt and you said, "Fuck it, I'm going to Mars," how are they going to get you back? That money...
Right. The creditor would really have to be a dick to track you down to Mars.
Well, and it's not like... we've talked about it before, but they're actually offering a loan program, or potentially going to offer a loan program to go to Mars, where, you sign the dot saying you're going to be an upstanding citizen, and they ship you to Mars free of charge.
Almost sounds like an indentured servant kind of thing. I mean, it's like you just kind of sign your life away to you promise to work.
If you're going to Mars, I mean, there's no other choice. I would assume if you start freeloading or starting shit, they just throw you out an airlock.
They just have vigilante justice. They don't tar and feather you. They just throw you out into space.
I mean, what else are they going to do? I mean, that's what's going to be extremely interesting about Mars is you have limited food, limited water, limited air, limited everything. And if you have someone that, commits a capital crime like murder or something like that, there's not going to be oh, well, he should be rehabilitated. It's going to be, you're wasting food and water. Goodbye.
Well, so many people have become so selfish and so cut off from any form of community. I don't think the all for one argument would work. Like in World War II, they banded together and because they had an enemy to fight. Today, people hate each other. I really don't. I don't know if this is negative, but I really don't see people going, "Oh, it's for the good of the people." I'll go along with that idea. I don't know if those people are around anymore. It
Oh,
seems
they
like
are.
they're too selfish.
Yeah,
No.
if they were on Mars, Kirk, and the mission was to colonize Mars, I'm assuming
Survive.
that 98% of the people are going to successfully assimilate into that society. There's going to be 2%
A
of
small
people.
sliver of people
Yeah,
that will do grunt work to help establish it, but also for the greater good and for other. I don't know. I think that's a tightrope you're walking to find that person who's willing to do
Eh,
that.
I
well,
think anyone that's willing to go to Mars is already
that
knows
was
that's going to be the mentality.
But they're in debt. They're not going. It's not going well on Earth. They have nothing to lose. So it's like going there is better. But there's really they know they're not. There's no. They know they're not going to ship them back 3 months if they don't if they screw around or something. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't
But
know.
I
I
think
agree to disagree on this one.
I think the difference, Kirk, that you're looking at here is that the on Earth it's one thing, but on Mars it's another. If you mess up on Mars, you're dead. So,
well,
and if you screw up and you kill the whole colony, there's no coming back.
well,
People are people. People won't get vaccinated. People don't think climate change is real. People don't.
I
They don't. It's people are people. It's human nature. I disagree.
I just think that the amount of people that are willing to do the community work are going to far outnumber the ones that don't. And if the ones that don't help out, it's going to be a simple thing of, hey, you didn't pull your duty, you're not getting to eat until you do. And it's going to be if the person was trying to just freeload to get up to Mars to live a better life, that's not what's going to happen. They're going to get there and they're either going to work or they're going to find themselves, potentially bringing on a new wave of Martian aliens by fertilizing the ground.
It's gonna be Martian law. Uh-huh.
It's instead of Marshall. It's close.
All right, Kirk. Well, on that note, we're running a little long. Let's jump over to your corner and see what you got going on this week, John. That's a great conversation. Let's table it for a future episode because I do think there's a lot that we can vet out there. But Kirk, there's a demonic dog.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything. Like I said,
Yeah, it looks the same. It's okay. Yeah, you're tired. It's all right. No, and like still the opening credits from 3 weeks ago is still you can coast on that for another week or so.
And John, I still think that vase looks like Obelix.
It absolutely does.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's okay. You guys do. Yeah. So I talked about. I saw a movie, and have you guys seen the Boss Baby? Have you seen that movie? The preview for that?
Yes.
Okay. So what I actually, if you didn't know this, the Boss, because it was a sequel, it's become so popular that there's going to be a TV show, and it's I actually watched Undercover Boss Baby, and I honestly couldn't believe the workers couldn't tell. It was a freaking baby. How do you not realize there's an 8-month-old babbling, oh, that's my boss? It's just, you know what? If you mark detail-oriented, I hope you didn't, because you're not. But speaking of babies, I was making a baby laugh so hard. I was killing this baby. I was destroying this. Here's how much I was making this baby laugh. This baby handed me his own nose. That's he's like, you sir have earned this. You've caused me to soil myself more than usual. So well done, old chap. And then so we're talking babies. I went to Walgreens. This will all tie in. I went to Walgreens, and I think because of the COVID, I think I've forgotten how to talk to people. Like I feel like I'm rusty. I'm not sure if you guys can relate to that, but just you've been quarantined, and then I feel like I'm trying to get back in society. Well, so I went to Walgreens, which, by the way, once I was driving by Walgreens in the night, and the W was out, and it was Algreens, which was hilarious as a sexy store. But anyway, so I was at Walgreens, and I was buying something, and the lady she goes, do you want a plastic bag? And I go, and I just, once again, this is me, quarantine, trying to make her laugh. I go, you know what? To be honest, I have enough plastic bags at home to kill an army of babies. And yeah, so that came out of my face, and then in the back, instantly, what the hell are you saying? Why did you say this to this middle-aged lady with glasses? And then I actually started to picture, go with me on this, picture an army of babies coming at you. They have camouflage helmets, they have white diapers, they're just coming at you. And then, you're just handing out plastic bags. Like, there's one for you, there's one for you. Gucci, 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 you're so cute. But seriously, John, the main problem with baby soldiers is when they come back from war, there's no jobs for them. The illiteracy rate among baby soldiers, it's through the roof, okay? Because they come back disillusioned. They're like, why were we in Afghanistan? The worst part was they didn't even get their security deposit back. Who knew it would have been so complicated? But anyway, they just come back from the war, depressed, staring up at their mobile. Their mobile is just opioids and syringes. You know what I mean? They're hooked on that, and they're just totally disillusioned. So that was baby soldiers. That was a joke. It's the 25th anniversary. It's their 25th show. That was Chris's favorite joke. So I really tried to stack it heavy with baby friendly stuff before I got to the killing them with plastic bags, because you really got to make you like me to get away with that.
Yes, that is one of for everybody listening. That is one of Kirk's. You can check him out on YouTube. Kirk Buckout. That is one of his best bits that he does have. John didn't laugh. I don't know why, but
I'm here, just muted.
Okay, he's muted. All right, that's why he did not laugh. Anyway, yes, check Kirk out on YouTube, because that is one of his bits, and it's hilarious.
And my Twitter, I just passed, I think, 4,300 jokes. So if you like jokes, follow me on Twitter. They come about, I don't know, 10 a day, maybe 5 on a bad day. But if you like silly jokes, go there. It's nothing hateful, political bullshit. It's mainly silly, goofy stuff.
So the reason why I was muted, Kirk, I'm going to show you Obelix.
Oh, that's funny, because I totally text him.
Oh. I have it up on
He looks like a strong man or something. Does he work he's like a circus? What is this guy's job?
This was an old comic strip and they made some cartoon movies out of it, but they were like in the Egyptian
Gaul.
Oh, Gaul Empire. And yes, he was the strong man.
Does he have dumbbells in his goatee? That's how much of a strongman he is? Even his facial hair is working out?
I think it was Bo's, but you can see how that vase resembles.
I could see it now, yes. Yeah, I had no idea what you're... Yes, I can see where you would... Yes. Blue and white stripes, for sure.
Yes, it was good. But yes, Kirk, I was very happy. And I think that you should sprinkle some of those comedy stand-up sets into your Kirk's Corner a little bit more often, because I enjoy them a lot.
Okay, yeah. Every once in a while they do. It's some of the new jokes come in, and then sometimes I go old school with some old bits. But yeah, I'll try to mix it up and do some old stand-up stuff from the early 2000s. Wow.
How about this, Kirk? I will, on the 25th episode, one of these weeks coming up, I don't know how long it'll be, I will take over Kirk's Corner and I will throw out a comedy bit of my own. How about that?
Oh, that'll be
You would
entertaining.
you'll guest host Kirk's Corner base. Okay, all right.
I
So
will.
yeah, it's like
I
when
will.
Carson took a break.
I will guest host Kirk's Corner, and I'll throw out my own 3 or 4 minute comedy bit, and we'll see how it goes.
I need
How-
to
what
know
do you
beforehand.
So you can mute his mic. Is that what you're gonna do?
Oh, I've got an idea.
Okay, so if you're down with that, Kirk, I will come up. I will, because I told you. I mean, I'm into comedy. I love it, and how I will come up with my own little set, and we'll see how I compare to the great Kirk Buckout.
All right. Yes. You know what? It's stay tuned, everybody. Be Chris's first stand-up set, but he'll be sitting down and it'll be a podcast. But it's close enough. He's telling jokes.
I'm really. I bet you John will give me a glass of water.
Oh, if you son of a bitch!
I doubt that.
Yeah. I won't.
Oh, okay.
That'll be the 50th anniversary. If when we make it to 50 shows, there'll be a glass of water, and I'll be all choked up and just tear up.
No, you won't have any tears because you've been so dehydrated for this long.
I'll want to. You know what? I'll try.
I put
A for effort.
drinks in there. Not water, but, drinks.
Yeah, you put a Coke and a Monster Energy drink. 2 things that will dehydrate him more.
There was also milk.
A vase of flower water. That too. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Whole milk. Oh, that's refreshing. Glug glug glug.
Well, so Kirk, we'll let you go since you came in and I liked your bit. Let's see you take it off with some off topic here while we round out the show.
Okay. This off topic, it was a story about a walrus. There was a walrus off the coast of Ireland who he's been pulling himself up on boats to rest. And you guys, a walrus is a big, heavy. So and they've named him Wally the walrus. He's actually sunk 2 boats in this bay, just trying to pull himself up. So the hilarious part, their solution is what they're going to do is to stop him from sinking these boats. Officials have secured a 3-sided pontoon boat for Wally to use as a floating couch. So it's not, hey, an animal's doing something, we're going to kill him. We're going to give him a comfy couch. And I just feel bad for the owners that had 2 of their boats sunk because they both had insurance, but they're not being reimbursed because they weren't covered by walrus attack. Or active walrus was the other one. I wasn't sure which one was funnier, active walrus or walrus attack. Either way, but they're not getting it back. Just Wally is grateful for the couch, and he's asked if he could also get a TV and a beer. So that's what's happening in Ireland. There's trouble with the world, and they're trying to figure out how to make a walrus more comfy, giving him a couch.
Sounds about right. It's funny. I was just thinking as you were throwing out that off topic. It's amazing how many of our off topics go to animals. And I don't know if that's just the news feed that we get, or
I'm guessing it's
but...
Kirk's news feed.
It seems to be like on there's also there's a lot of lottery ticket stories that I just ignore. But there's some guy won the lottery and then 2 weeks later he won it again, or I don't know, for some reason it's animals and lottery tickets is what people find weird.
All right. Well, and I laugh because my off topic was in the same vein of animals, but mine went the other way. So in Indiana,
they shot a walrus?
No. So
okay.
in Indiana, they have black vultures, which apparently is just a vulture that doesn't have a red head like the vulture you think of when you think of vulture.
Mm-hmm.
And the farmers have been like really, really irritated by these black vultures because they apparently are more aggressive and they don't wait for things to die before they try and eat them. So they are killing like cows and calves and any kind of animals on the farm. They're like grouping up and killing these animals so that they can eat. And it's kind of tough for the farmers because the birds are actually protected by the federal migratory bird policy that says you can't hunt migratory birds. And so they literally have no recourse to deal with these birds. And some farmers have lost, I think one guy had lost like 4 animals in 1 month to these black vultures. And so now they're trying to get a variance passed so that they can kill all the vultures that come on their property.
Because the vultures know, if they know they're just with impunity, just eating stuff and no one's screwing with them. It's just like the geese around Colorado. Like they know they're protected and they just march across traffic and they're dicks. Like if you make them soft, they're going to become jerks and take advantage of it. So,
Yeah. So mine was a little bit less lighthearted than yours because these black vultures, I read the whole story was like they don't even care. They'll circle around, like they said the farmers get outside and there's like 10 of these things flying around and they find something they want to eat, they just take it down. So
just like you.
Yep, pretty much.
So your spirit animal is the
that is the spirit animal of Chris. Yes.
Because I'll just circle. There's somebody dropped a corn dog in a parking lot. He circled for a good 5 minutes before he swooped down just to make sure it was safe. It was crazy. You think I'm making it up? I'm not.
I do a lot of things for a corn dog as long as it's real.
Right. It was. That's why you circled for so long, just to make sure it wasn't one of those fake veggie corn dogs.
Yep. Not again. Never again.
Never.
John, did you have anything off topic this week?
Only that the fact that Skyrim is being re-released again.
Skyrim. I know that's a video game.
Yes.
And didn't that come out in like 2000?
2011.
The original?
Yeah.
Wasn't there one before it?
Yeah, it was Oblivion. Oh. That was 2006-ish.
So they're re-releasing it?
Yes. This is like the 5th time.
Did they change it?
This one has been changed. It contains fishing now, or something to that effect.
So that's your marketing. That's going to hook the kids. Kids, it's got fishing. You don't have to wait so long to get your license. It's amazing. It's fun.
Don't get me wrong. Skyrim is a fun game, but I don't think it's fun enough to justify. I mean, I've had it 3 times. I bought it for the 360. I bought it for Steam, the computer, and I bought the VR version. And then I got the special edition for free, which was the 4th. And now this new one that's coming out. It's just every time
So you have 4, but 6 is the line. You're like, come on, guys. 6.
I probably paid...
Sharknado's one too many, right?
I paid full price for the 360 and the VR one. It goes on sale on the computer so often that if you pay any more than like $5 for the complete set, it's overpriced. But the point... I have it on the Switch too.
They got you coming and going, man.
Well, it's only because, like I said, it's a fun game, and my wife wanted to play it, And instead of buying it for the computer when we got the Switch, I kind of wanted to justify buying the Switch, so I got Skyrim for like $20. But just the fact that it's the same game that keeps being released for the last decade, it's just kind of funny to me. I mean, it was a meme, and then they just keep justifying the meme.
Yeah, no, it's a good marketing strategy. We'll just keep re-releasing it, and we might add something, we might not, but you know, people will buy it.
I mean, it works for FIFA.
Yeah, that's true.
Works for sports jerseys.
So, hey, I get a kick out of it. I mean, I wonder how much money they made as a company just like re-releasing the same game over and over again. Probably a lot.
I would assume so.
Maybe we should re-release our podcast episode by episode.
I mean, we kind of do.
Damn it, you're right.
Kirk's responsible for that one.
Hey, everybody. On that note, check out our highlights coming in. They come out on Fridays, curated by our own running gag Kirk Buckout.
If you can't take us for 80 minutes, maybe you can tolerate us for 16. So that's the sales pitch.
Yes. If
Make a shirt.
If you think we suck long term, try us out short term. It might be better.
There you go. Just it'll be bad, but it'll be shorter, so you'll like it more. So it's less bad. So there.
Self-deprecating at its finest. But no, check us out. Our highlights come out every Friday on YouTube. Kirk picks out the best parts of the podcast and curates those. John edits it, and we put them up for your viewing pleasure.
And you sit on your sweet ass and enjoy the hard work of me and John. No, I was kidding. Okay.
Sometimes.
I mean,
yeah. I'm just assuming John was going to say, like, yep, that sounds about right. Hey, I'm working on a cartoon for the podcast. I'm putting in my effort, okay? So, with that, we will be looking forward to the next 25 episodes. We did hit 25, which is a nice milestone. We were a little more, nice little claps there. We've been slugging along, and it's hard to believe we've already hit episode 25.
One shy of half a year.
Yeah, 26. That's half a year, and it's been it's been fun. We've had a good time with 25, and 25 more should be even better, as long as John keeps up the animation. So, hey, I'm working on getting us more animation. I say that in jest. John, don't take that personal.
I know.
So, thanks to all our listeners who are checking us out. We did actually get up I got half the collaboration video done for the Fuzed Crafts channel. So, John, any ideas on when that's going up?
I have to work on it. And I want to see what it would look like altogether before I decide if I'm going to split it up or not.
Okay, so that was a terrible tease. We will get back to you on that. But we are out of time here, so thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully we opened up your mind to some different theories tonight, and we look forward to talking more about other theories that we might think are a little crazy. But thanks for listening, and we will see you all next week. Kirk, John, thanks for joining us. Episode 26, we'll see you.